Hello, and thank you for taking time this weekend to join us here on KREM 2 News. I'm Cody Proctor, and this is the KREM 2 News Weekend Review. We know life gets busy, and it can be tough to keep up with all the news. So let's get you updated on some of the headlines from this past week.
Well, it's important to note this is just one of multiple lawsuits stemming from similar alleged sexual assault and hazing incidents at Mead's football camp. Today, a judge issued a partial summary judgment finding the district failed to provide evidence to dispute claims it violated mandatory sexual harassment and assault reporting laws.
The incident dates back to 2022 while the Mead High School football team was at a summer football camp. The family of a Mead High School football player sued, alleging teammates physically assaulted him. The complaint also claims the student was held down and other students used a massage gun on his genitals. On your screen, KREM 2 News, through our investigation, obtained a video of this alleged incident. The lawsuit said staff were aware of the incident, but failed to take meaningful action to stop it. Today, the court ruled the district failed in its responsibility to protect students, ignored repeated reports of sexual harassment and assault, violated mandatory reporting laws, and engaged in gender-based discrimination, saying the district is legally responsible for its employees' actions. Sweetser Law Office, who represents the victim, tells us in a statement, the court has now made clear those duties were violated as a matter of law. At the center of it are children who were entitled to protection, honesty, and adult intervention. I reached out to the Mead School District today for comment. A spokesperson told me over email the district is aware of the court's ruling. They said, quote, the Mead School District is committed to maintaining a safe and respectful environment for all students and staff. Discriminatory harassment in any form has no place in our school and is never tolerated. The district understands that it is legally responsible for the actions of its employees, even when they fail to follow their training, district policies, and their statutory obligations.
Now, trial is set for May 18th for this case, where monetary damages will be decided. For now, I'm reporting in the newsroom, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News. Well, 16-year-old Onyx Delight appeared in court on second-degree murder and first-degree assault charges. He is being tried as an adult and is being held on a $1 million bond.
This is a tragedy all around.
Court documents allege Delight shot and killed 44-year-old Dylan Bundy Gray. Those documents show he also accidentally shot his friend in the hand. Delight's face is being covered at the request of the court commissioner.
Granting the state's request and imposing a bond of $1 million is appropriate under the facts of this case.
The shooting happened outside of Bundy Gray's home on Wellesley Avenue around 7 a.m. Sunday. Court documents say a woman was walking on the street when two teenage men whistled at her. Prosecutors say one of them was Onyx Delight. As she walked away, Bundy Gray, sitting on his front porch, yelled at the two teens. The teenagers approached Bundy Gray, and records say they started arguing and physically fighting. Delight is accused of shooting 5 to 6 times, hitting his friend and Bundy Gray.
I mean, we saw him there. He was still alive when the police got here. We saw him checking for wounds and stuff. So, like, knowing that this happened and then seeing him down and knowing that he's gone, it doesn't feel real. It's very, very sad.
Today, a victim's advocate read a letter from Gray's wife in court.
Now a widow and the sole parent of our 4 boys, all still in school. We continued to be shocked that Dylan was shot and killed on an otherwise normal Sunday morning.
I spoke on the phone with Gray's brother, Ian Bundy Gray. He says he wants justice to be served. He posted on Facebook saying he is devastated by this loss, but is comforted in knowing his brother will be remembered in the community as a hero.
Now, arraignment for Delight will be on March 31st. For now, I'm reporting in Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
After nearly 3 hours of deliberation, a jury has found Dupree Meadows guilty of first-degree assault with a deadly weapon. Throughout the last couple of days, a jury has listened to witness testimonies regarding the assault that left David Karn with close to 70% of his body burned. The assault happened back in September in the Brown Street Viaduct. According to court documents, Meadows poured gasoline onto Karn from a milk carton and lit him on fire before Karn was was able to get the attention of a nearby patrol car. Karn was later life-flighted to Seattle, where he was treated for his wounds. A doctor who treated Karn took the stand today, saying any burn injury above 40% on the body is considered life-threatening. In today's closing arguments, both sides went back and forth about the credibility of the evidence put forth before the jury, especially when it came to Karn's mental state leading up to the incident and during questioning at the hospital, where he identified Meadows as his attacker. Meadows' defense also argued the reliability of the DNA found on the deadly weapon.
He was covered in gasoline and then was lit on fire. There's only one purpose when you do that. It's not a mistake. You have to intentionally, 2 steps there, pouring the gasoline and lighting him on fire. And then Mr. Karn identified that man in a photo montage, and then Mr. Karn identified that man here in court.
We just don't have enough. We have unreliable evidence. The DNA evidence is shoddy. All you can say is it's there. Doesn't give you a timestamp, so it's basically useless.
Sentencing has been set for April 24th. In Spokane, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Before we get back to this week's headlines, we want to remind you, you can get the latest news and weather forecast anytime you want on KREM 2 Plus. It's our streaming app you can watch on your TV, and best of all, it's free. We hope you'll check it out, but now let's get back to the Week in Review.
Today, the Spokane Regional Health District confirmed a county resident got a measles infection. Health officials say because of the risk of spreading, they're advising folks check their children's and their own vaccination status to make sure they're up to date on the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. SRHD noted there being no connection to a case reported on March 19th with exposures at Providence Sacred Heart emergency departments. That person's whereabouts throughout the month were also reported by SRHD, adding anyone at several locations across the county risk having contacted measles. These include the Shadle Park Walmart, including inside the Subway store between 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, March 11th, Frank's Diner on Thursday, March 12th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., and the Black Pearl Casino in Spokane Valley between 7 to 10 p.m. on Wednesday, March 18th. You can find the rest of those locations and times on our website. SRHD says symptoms for measles include high fever, rash, red eyes, and a runny nose. If anyone believes they've been exposed, health officials urge folks to contact their healthcare provider before visiting a clinic or emergency room. SRHD also says any adults who are unsure if they've gotten the vaccine can still get one, emphasizing there's no harm in getting it a second time. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News. In a broader search to protect voter privacy, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson signed Senate Bill 5892. It guarantees information voters reveal to county elections offices in Washington state stays private. That includes driver's license numbers, entire social security numbers, and birth dates.
It's crucial that these requests for this kind of sensitive personal information are protected, and that our database is solely administered by our Secretary of State. So
one of the bill's sponsors, Senator Marcus Riccelli from Spokane, says this bill came to the attention of lawmakers because President Donald Trump sued several states and threatened legal action against Washington state in 2025 after refusing to provide personal voter information from the state's voter database. This, the administration says, was to find nationwide evidence of voter fraud. But Riccelli adds the law is important no matter who holds the highest office.
I think protecting personal data and the privacy of sensitive information is a nonpartisan issue.
Anyone at the county level proven to have revealed private information receives a Class C felony charge. In Washington state, that punishment is a fine up to $10,000 and or up to 5 years in prison. This sparked opposition from Washington State Senator Jeff Wilson, who argued back in February that the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
I just don't think that those county election offices should have to be subject to such very strict matters as proposed in this bill.
Senator Riccelli agrees the consequences are harsh, but says the crime severity makes that important.
I think it's very serious to protect privacy of information, of people's personal information.
Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs released a statement on the bill becoming law, saying in part, Washington has long held a high standard for voter access while running safe and secure elections. Passage of this bill is another positive step toward ensuring we keep it that way. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
A defining moment and a warning.
AI, of course, has incredible potential to transform society. At the same time, of course, there are risks that we must mitigate as a state, especially to young people.
Governor Bob Ferguson signed House Bill 2225 into law this week, acknowledging both promise and peril.
There have been stories of teens turning to these chatbots in times of distress before, quite tragically, ultimately ending their lives.
The law now requires AI chatbots to flag signs of self-harm, connect users to crisis hotlines, and limit manipulative or explicit content for minors. But for one of the people standing next to Ferguson Tuesday, this was more than policy, it's personal.
I'm thrilled, really, just to see some basic level accountability being built into this kind of on the forefront. We're getting ahead of the curve.
Aaron Ping from Olympia lost his 16-year-old son Avery just over a year ago after a poisonous drug deal over Snapchat. He says he never knew how few safeguards existed.
The public doesn't really realize that until, it comes up and your son dies.
Researchers say the risks are real and growing.
Tech companies can't be relied on to regulate themselves, so we really need to step up and regulate.
Supporters call it a balanced approach, protecting kids without stopping innovation.
Mitigating the risk, but trying to take on some of the benefits as well.
But industry leaders warn the law may go too far.
The risk is legislating based on rare, horrific outliers.
For Aaron Ping, those outliers are real lives.
It's a relief. It makes me sleep a little better at night.
A bittersweet victory, a law meant to protect the next child.
It's hard. It's really hard.
And a father hoping his son's story saves another.
Thank you for watching the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. It's been a busy week all across the Inland Northwest, so let's help catch you up on some stories you might have missed.
First Sergeant Timmy Turner was in Honolulu last week, laying his father to rest. On Wednesday, he boarded a flight home on Southwest.
I was watching a little movie on,
When about 2.5 hours into it,
and I can kind of see some commotion going on.
He says flight attendants discovered a 65-year-old man unconscious in the lavatory.
He came over the PA and asked if there were any medical personnel on the flight.
Halfway over the Pacific, there was no chance of landing quickly. Immediately, First Sergeant Timmy Turner stepped forward, leveraging his experience in combat medicine and respiratory therapy from the 62nd Medical Brigade here at JBLM.
Myself and the other gentleman who was an EMT, we grabbed the gentleman, very confined quarters. His vitals were all over the place. They were not normal.
Another passenger on that flight tells King 5 they witnessed, in their words, urgency, the fear among passengers, and the extraordinary professionalism displayed by Turner.
Kind of vomited a little bit.
Turner had crew give him an AED, an oxygen tank, and an IV.
We put him on his side initially. And
he says he wasn't sure what the man was suffering from.
He's still unconscious, still not responding to anything that we're doing.
Does he have a pulse at this point?
He has a very faint pulse.
He monitored the man's vitals for 3 hours while the pilot could get them to the closest available airport, Oakland.
He was still alive.
Witnesses say Turner and a nurse braced themselves over the man like a human seatbelt, protecting him through landing as he laid on the cabin floor.
They were able to get us direct into a gate where EMS was able to board the aircraft very quickly.
A passenger tells King 5 they believe without Turner, that man may not have survived. As for Turner,
I picture myself, back in my younger days when, You know, I was a combat medic in the back of a, 113.
He says it was a reminder of the value of his years of service.
If anything, it just kind of boosted my confidence a little bit more that, at the end of the day, I know that I can save a life if I need to, and hopefully, if others are able to do it, that they have that confidence to do the same thing.
Maddie White, King 5 News.
I just feel like we've all been waiting for this moment. A moment 18 years in the making. This is the best news we've had since 2008, since the Sonics left. Working with our league. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver held a press conference Wednesday. The league's Board of Governors gave the green light to explore expansion exclusively in Seattle and Las Vegas. It's an announcement that's bringing up childlike happiness many haven't felt in a while.
I would describe it as basically kind of getting a part of my childhood back.
Being a Sonics fan, growing up around here, it was the creme de la creme of Seattle sports in the 90s and before. We got Sean Kemp, the Rain Man, Duncan. Juice Andrews is one of the owners of Queen Anne Beer Hall. He's a proud, diehard Sonics fan that has kept the faith through every off season. When the Sonics left, this whole community kind of, all the businesses here really suffered and struggled through that. So, the Kraken brought that business back. We've had a really awesome couple of years with the Kraken here. And I know that with the Sonics back, it's going to just bring that excitement, that electricity back to this area. Opening a new chapter in the Sonics history books.
I feel like we just got to the crescendo. Now we're waiting for the next pin to drop.
When the news dropped, Danny Ball, host of Iconic Sonics, says it hit like a fast break straight to the heart.
Step in the right direction. I'm a pretty emotional person. I let a few tears out.
Tears today, but they come from a city that stayed in the game start to finish.
There's no more deserving city than Seattle to have an NBA franchise, so we're not next in line. It's our turn for sure.
Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we have one more story you might have missed this past week.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the initial voyage of the Seattle Mariners.
First game for the Mariners since 1977. My dad got tickets and we went over to that. It was just a surreal experience as a kid.
Randy Perry grew up in Bremerton and still remembers taking the ferry to Seattle with his dad to watch the Mariners play at the Kingdome. He even kept every ticket stub.
My dad put the ticket in the program and kept going to games, put the tickets in the program, and I always thought the tickets were they were cooler than the programs. And so I just kept all of my tickets.
And Randy says, looking back, it's the sound of the stadium that really stands out.
The sound in there was different because it was so big, and a lot of times things would resonate off of the, a ball would hit the bleachers, and the bleachers were metal, and you hear this ping.
Probably my most memorable core memory at the Kingdome was getting Harold Reynolds' autograph. I still have it. I still have old arrows. He became my favorite player.
More than 3,000 miles away in Florida, Angela Langer grew up in the Seattle area and has continued to cheer on the M's.
I think of just that special bonding time that we had together.
She says when she thinks of the Kingdome, she thinks of her dad.
Now at the age of 45 and my dad's 70, we still talk about sports. We still talk about the old times at the Kingdome. And I pass that on to my three boys.
Thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Be sure to keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.